Hello, everybody, and welcome to ATI. Dan Nasser. I am in my weirdly lit apartment in Malden, hosting today via Skype. Brian and Matt in the studio in Natick. How are you?
It's like Felger's Beach House, except the audio quality is better.
Yeah, how are things, Danny and Malden, right now? Okay.
Things are fantastic. Yeah, no complaints. We'll see how this goes. First Skype edition of ATI.
Right.
The technology here is wonderful.
Yeah, let's just dive in. That was a weird Patriots game on Sunday. It was a low-scoring game. The offense didn't play that well. The defense was absolutely dominant. But a win is a win.
Can I say Josh Allen is just awful as a quarterback? That's, I think, all that needs to be said about that game. Because any competent quarterback, like if Matt Barkley played that whole game, Patriots probably lose, which is a strange thing to say. But Josh Allen, I think 3 interceptions. Yeah, 3 interceptions, 153 yards. I also want to touch on that hit, that while I don't think it was 100% clean, it wasn't dirty. Josh Allen decided to lower his head into the shoulder of the defender. You can't help that the defender was just stronger and didn't move.
That's what I was saying during the Raiders game.
No, that's a whole other thing.
It was just a hit. I mean,
a little bit.
People hit their wives all the time and they only miss 8 games. You hit a guy with helmet and pads, you miss a full season. Explain that to me, Matt.
Well, because most people, when they're getting in trouble for domestic violence, the NFL sees it as the first time it happens. Perfect.
Yeah, because the first time you get caught, it's always the first time.
Apparently. Okay. So, but Perfect has been out. We'll get to that.
Okay.
But honestly, that Patriots game was so not fun to watch.
Right.
Like normally, you're like, oh, a good game, a close game. That was just awful.
Did you feel like watching the Super Bowl?
No. No, because there was something on the line.
Because the stakes weren't nearly as high.
Right.
Yeah, this just felt like Josh Allen being awful. Tom Brady trying to be, I can be just as bad. Watch me.
Right.
And the only reason they won is because Matt Barkley only played a quarter.
But that defense, though, for the Patriots is not bad.
The Patriots, yeah. Let's talk about the positive, which is the Patriots' defense is fantastic.
Yeah.
Another dominant performance.
Yeah,
and
Jason
finally they
Jackson
play it.
Looking good.
Yeah, the Bills aren't, amazing on offense. But they played a team that came in with a 3-0 record. They held them to 10 points.
Yeah, what was it? Their first was a touchdown they've given up since
AFC Championship.
AFC Championship game, or the Patriots Championship game, basically, every year. Their defense.
That's
is
when
amazing.
the season starts every year for the Patriots.
Yeah, and I think, the defense is great, but I think also, too, with their offensive line with Skarnecki, those are the 2 things that people aren't talking about that I think are getting a lot more attention soon.
I'm interested to see how that O-line transforms because right now it's starting to, the guys are dropping like flies right now.
Who's left tackle this week?
Exactly. So I'll be interested to see how that keeps going, but with Skarnecki there, anything's possible. The way they could literally put you or I there and we'll probably be halfway decent.
Yeah, I'm a large mammal. Matt's getting there. We could do it. Matt Patricia over here, and I got Max Lane over here. We can do it.
Trimmed up, not as Patricia.
Yeah.
So the big news that came out today before we started recording is that Stephen Gostkowski has been put on IR.
Oh, boy.
He's apparently getting some kind of hip surgery.
Really?
Is that right?
I think that explains why he's been missing weird, random Vinatieri M45 plus kicks. I mean, all season, I think that's like, watch, he's going to cost us a game. He's going to cost us a game. If you need hip surgery, I mean, Dan, your dad needs hip surgery soon. I mean, he's not the same guy he was, before his hip got. Can you imagine if he had to play professional football?
Not the same guy physically, but he's still got it all upstairs.
Mentally, Henry Masser is 5 times the man that. But it's not completely shocking. It was only a matter of time that something happened. And because for some reason I feel like Gostkowski is basically like Belichick's second child, the way Brady is to Kraft.
Right.
They weren't, even if it's, I'd say like a 50% issue, they're like, wait, we have an out here where we can can him for the rest of the year and get to keep him long term.
It's a good PR move.
Yeah. So he needs hip surgery. People can divulge on that all they want. Bring in some guy that they'll probably be just as bad, and they'll be like, see, the rest of the kickers in the league are awful.
Seabass needs a ring.
Yeah, because it's saying that he's gonna undergo the surgery, and then he'll be expected to be ready for the 2020 season. But who knows? Maybe if the Patriots bring in a kicker who turns out to be fantastic. Who knows? That could be it for Gostkowski.
Who do you hear, Dan? Have you heard anything today on the local
I
news?
haven't. No, I haven't. I'm not sure who. I know they had some guys in practice kicking, but I'm not sure who they were. Matt, have you heard anything?
I have not. My guess is it'll be some like soccer player from some Division IV college somewhere that people don't even know they have school.
I'm hoping for a woman. That'd be cool.
That would be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because I know there have been talks like the Eagles have been looking at Carly Lloyd to kick, and with the National Professional Women's Soccer season ending in 1 week, I don't know.
Kathy Ireland, Unnecessary Roughness. That was a good movie. She was pretty good.
There's got to be some other veteran kickers who aren't on a roster that could potentially fill the role.
There is Sam Ficken, the most controversial, annoying kicker I've ever dealt with in person. He could kick a 53-yard field goal and then miss a 20-yard chip shot the next one.
Who's the kicker who does the podcast who's been retired?
Oh, Pat McAfee?
Pat McAfee.
He's a punter.
He's a punter, though.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But he's enjoying his broadcasting career. I don't
What
know.
about Sebastian Janikowski?
That's who I want. That's who I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Seabass needs a ring, Dan.
He needs a ring.
He does.
But also, let's
Yeah.
not forget the last time he was a kicker in Seattle, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from 5 yards away.
Well, neither can this guy, so the bar's low. The
Wait,
bar's low.
so
And if
Janikowski
there is a bar, he'll show
Seattle?
up.
Yeah.
He kicked for Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Shane Leckler played for the Raiders forever. And, all of a sudden when the kicker makes $2.5, $3 million, once you get over $3 million, no matter what team you're on, even if you're a first-round draft pick like Janikowski was, they move on from you.
I think Justin Tucker's the only kicker that makes any money. Who knows? Maybe just trade Tom Brady to the Ravens.
Maybe.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
So we'll see who they end up hiring to fill that spot at kicker. The Patriots are playing the Redskins on Sunday, and the Redskins are about as big of a dumpster fire in the league right now, maybe second only to the Dolphins.
Right.
So I'm
No,
expecting
'cause
another blowout.
The Dolphins aren't a dumpster fire. They know exactly what they are. They're awful. The Redskins think they're good and are just.
I don't think
are a
they think
dumpster
they're
fire.
good, but they're not. They're not executing a plan necessarily like the Dolphins are to be horrible.
Who's
The
their
Redskins,
quarterback now?
that makes it more pathetic that the Redskins are actually trying and are pathetic.
Do we
Exactly, yeah.
Do we even know who the quarterback is for the Redskins?
So, according to Jay Gruden, it's Dwayne Haskins is in the mix.
Yes.
Case Keenum, if he's healthy,
Uh-huh.
even though he was pulled from the game not because of injury.
Uh-huh.
And then there's even a possibility that Colt McCoy, who still has a broken leg, is in the discussion.
Puts a team on his back, though.
I think that was Greg Gaines. But that just, it doesn't matter who starts. Case Keenum is just going to be awful. Dwayne Haskins will probably throw just as many picks as Josh Allen did. And Case Keenum has a broken freaking leg.
Yeah.
Or not Case Keenum, Colt McCoy. Yeah. So, I don't know what the spread is. If you give me 30 seconds, I can look it up. But Patriots by 1 million.
So you got that game. Dan, any other games this past
15
week
and a
that
half.
really that caught your attention?
I think probably we should talk about what happened between Kansas City and Detroit.
Yeah, 4th and 8.
We're gonna be-
That was the game.
We're going to be following Kansas City all season, as we've talked about. They're on a collision course with the Patriots,
Right.
For another AFC Championship angle.
Yeah.
So seeing the Chiefs squeak one out against the Lions is certainly a notable result.
I think it shows more about how Patrick Mahomes has developed, that he had such an awful game, and yet in the big moment, he was still able to control the team. I don't know if you guys had seen a speech that the Chiefs posted on Twitter right before their final drive.
I don't follow them. No.
It wasn't the same, but it was equivocal to like Tim Tebow's speech in 2009 type thing.
Didn't see that
or
one,
2010, whichever one, the halftime of the championship game.
What do you say?
He basically just Tim Tebow'd the whole thing, rallied around, and somehow got them to win. And they put a plaque up with the speech and things. But
Do you hit the sign before we play?
no, it's outside the stadium.
Okay.
But I think it really showed that the Chiefs are different than last year. Last year it was Mahomes throwing the ball over the field. They ran the ball with Kareem when he was there. But when they were put in tight situations, they struggled. That game against Detroit, against basically the same defense that Patricia ran in the title game,
Right.
Mahomes beat it this time. Now, the talent wasn't the same.
Right.
But
I thought Patricia coached pretty well. I mean, Kansas City is a no-joke team. Detroit almost beat them. And I don't know what the money line was, but I guarantee you Kansas City was definitely favored.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Even
know,
in Detroit.
and-
It was in Detroit.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
which is fine.
But no, I agree with you, Brian. This obviously it was a loss,
Yep.
but this shows you something about the Lions and about the job that Matt Patricia is doing right now with that club. It looks
Right.
like they have started to buy in a little bit to what Patricia is selling. So that's nice to see as, a former Belichick disciple, maybe getting something done in Detroit.
Right.
It was 7 points to the Chiefs that it closed on.
Right.
And yeah, that was their first loss in the year too. And I mean, at least I questioned the Lions, what they looked like when they tied with the Cardinals week 1.
Sure.
I was like, okay, if you're, no offense to Kyler Murray, if you're drawing with the Cardinals, that's questionable. But then to go and win the next 2 games the way they did and be as competitive as they were, with literally no weapons around Matthew Stafford outside of Kerryon Johnson, I think Detroit, if they weren't in such a tough division, they'd be able to cause some noise.
Right.
Skipping around the league to another game that we talked about last week was going to be a game to watch, and that's the Browns-Ravens, where the Browns make a statement by beating the Ravens 40-25. This is an impressive win by a Cleveland team that kind of had their back against the wall here, not wanting to fall to 1-3, and taking on a Ravens team that's pretty good so far this year. So that's a big win for Cleveland.
Yeah, the Browns had to win that game. If they lost that game, I think that I wouldn't say their season would be over, but I mean, I think a lot of people would kind of write them off at that point. I know Matt's not a big Ravens fan, but I think the Ravens are always a team that they're going to be 8-8 or 10-6, and they're always they're kind of there, and you got to get past them. They're on the schedule, and you got to beat them. The Browns, people were already crowning them division champions. They're not, obviously. But by beating the Ravens, I think they kind of righted the ship a little bit and showed off some of their offensive weapons that they haven't really been doing all year.
I was really most impressed. They dropped a 40 spot with Odell, I think, getting 5 catches for like 30 yards and getting choked out in the 50-yard line. So that was impressive to me. But I just, week by week, I hope more and more people realize that the Ravens are fun to watch. Lamar is entertaining to watch as a quarterback. But when it comes to actually winning football games against competitive and good teams, they're not that good. They'll be in most contests because they'll hold possession, but you look when they can't slow down an offense on their own defense the way they couldn't control Nick Chubb, they're not built to win shootouts type games. You look at even last week, the only reason they scored, 35, 40 points, whatever, against the Chiefs, because the Chiefs gave up in the fourth quarter and let Lamar just run crazy, and they didn't really play exotic defenses. They played cover 5 and just went from there.
Prevent Patriots defense.
Basically. So when Lamar beats an actual team in a competitive game, talk to me then.
Well, the other thing to note here, gentlemen, is that the Browns, now at 2-2, are in first place in the AFC North because the Ravens are 2-2 as well. They've got the tiebreaker with the Ravens right now.
Right.
And then that toilet bowl between the Steelers and the Bengals, obviously those two teams had no wins going to that matchup. So they're, behind the Ravens and the Browns. So Cleveland Browns are the first place team right now.
The concerning part is, obviously Pittsburgh won that game between them and Cincinnati. The winner of that game would have been 1 game out of first place, which is I don't know what that says about the division. I think it says that the division is super even and competitive.
It's also very early.
True.
Exactly. It says that it's super early in the season, but it also, I think, shows it's going to be a race in that division. It's going to be kind of a toss-up between maybe all 4 of them. There'll probably at least 3 of 4. The Bengals we can probably off.
Let's not give Cincinnati too much credit here.
Can we talk about the number 6 seed in the AFC right now?
Number 6 seed in the AFC. Who's that, Brian?
The Raiders. They beat the Colts 31-24. Jacoby Brissett threw 46 passes. It was still unable to beat the Oakland Raiders.
That's just stupid.
They gave up 14 in the fourth quarter because of the spread. Not everybody can win. They're a Vegas team.
Mm-hmm. They got to help out the parenthood.
Yes, absolutely. But 31-24, impressive win. They are also second in their division because of the way the Broncos and everyone else has played.
True, and their offense is legit. Defensively, I'm sure you want to talk about something. But offensively, Derek Carr's balling out. They don't need that other guy that they had at receiver. Darren Waller is probably a top 5.
Is that the
tight
man
end
who
now.
must not be named?
Yeah, yeah. There's 2 of those.
He's at some high school field now, I heard.
So he's studying for, I think, like English 280 or something
Yeah,
like that.
he's got a paper to write. That's what he said on Twitter.
Taking online courses.
Him and frickin' Kyrie are balling out together.
School of Phoenix. Was it? What's the university?
University of Phoenix? No,
University of Phoenix.
He's up back at Western Michigan.
Okay.
But no, offensively they're great. It's defensively, can they stop teams? And I mean,
Can they stop hitting players illegally?
illegally?
And they had an injury. One of their safeties got hurt. Guy they drafted early. But I think you were talking about some of these other teams. It's the Patriots and the Chiefs, and then kind of everybody else. I don't know who's going to come out of that middle ground. I mean, somebody's got to win these divisions, and somebody's got to win these wild cards. And like we said, Dan, earlier, it's just too damn early to decide that because we had opinions about the Browns. That changed this week. We had opinions about the Bills. The Bills aren't horrible. They are decent. They're not as good as the Patriots,
They just don't have a
but they're
quarterback.
better than the Jets. They're better than the Dolphins. Is that saying anything? No. Are the Bills
Yeah, I
better
think
than the Bills better than the
Bills-
Steelers? Probably.
The way the Bills played on Sunday and kept it close, they're going to be in the mix for the wild card.
They're a top
As we're
10
talking about
defense.
wild cards,
Yeah.
they're going to be in the mix.
People are going to use that game against the Patriots and the Bills-Patriots as a blueprint to try and how to beat the
Right.
Patriots. And it's up to Belichick to then change something so that isn't how you.
And
beat
he will.
them. Oh, he definitely will. That's what makes him a great coach.
Again,
Yeah.
there's no way Brady has that bad a game again this year.
And we're talking about how bad of a game that he had, and he did have a really bad game. But if he hadn't thrown that interception in the end zone, they ended up scoring a touchdown there. It would have been 20-0
Right.
at that point.
Right.
True.
So that would have changed things.
Still with a missed extra point. But I digress.
Oh, Stephen. Another game I think we have to at least acknowledge a very surprising score. Tampa Bay Bucks beating the LA Rams 55-40. I don't think anyone thought Tampa was going to drop 55 points in that game. So what do we make of the Rams giving up 55? The Bucks team that's really hasn't shown much until Sunday.
Oh boy, where do I start, Jared Goff? Where do I start? I don't know, because they played all right offensively. They just, for whatever reason, they were getting run left and right, and defensively looked like they were a fish out of water. Now, I don't know if you're going to sit there and tell me Todd Bowles is the defensive genius that was able to stop them and score, I think, 14 points on defense, which basically was the difference in the game. But I guarantee you next week people are going to be all high and mighty on the Bucks, and they'll go drop a 5 spot on whoever they're playing. And that's just what we have to expect out of Jameis Winston.
Yeah, quite a performance from Jameis.
Dan, what did you make of the Saints-Cowboys game?
Yeah, that was the next one I think we should probably get to. I didn't see much of it. I was listening to it on the radio as I was driving back to Malden from Natick on Sunday night. But the score is really the thing that jumps out. A low-scoring game, 12-10. The fact that the Cowboys, who have looked so good, especially on offense in the first 2 weeks of the season, only scored 10 points.
Right.
You've really got to tip your cap to that Saints defense.
Oh, yeah.
Because they stepped up, especially with Drew Brees out.
Yeah, I think the big thing, we were talking about how the Cowboys look so great and the Saints look good, but then when Brees got hurt, we were like, oh, well. But the Saints have been treading water very well. They've been taking care of business, and I think they're going to hold the fort down. I haven't taken a look at their schedule too much yet, but if they can kind of keep doing what they're doing, when they get Brees back, especially with the Rams we talked about, they just lost. Is that what we said? Mm-hmm. Things are starting to look pretty good for the Saints again.
Like, they play the Bucks, Jags, the Bears is a tough game, then Cardinals, Falcons, Bucks. It's a winnable schedule, and I think the interesting thing is when they had Drew Brees, especially last year, the defense was like, all right, we can take a step back. Like, we have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. We have Kamara, we have Thomas, we have Ingram. We don't have to be on all the time. And I think that suffered because what made the Saints so appealing to especially Matt Lodi and I last year was
Who?
some guy. They played
Who
good
dat?
offense.
Who dat? Who dat?
And they played good defense. All of a sudden this year, in the games without Drew Brees, the defenses had to step up. Lattimore's had to play great coverage against, this week it was Amari Cooper. They shut down Zeke this week.
Who?
Amari Cooper?
Who did he play for?
I believe he played for Alabama.
Who dat?
Yeah, I've heard of him. He was a receiver. Somebody.
Yeah, he played at Alabama a couple years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think once the defense stepped up, all they're doing is just relying on the offense to score a couple points. Obviously, you want more than 12.
Right.
But when Kamara is still struggling, Michael Thomas is struggling, when they get going, if they ever get going, I think this team could be even more dangerous if the defense stays playing at that elite level.
Right. Yeah, fun week, Dan, in the NFL. It was a lot to cover. I know you have absolutely no interest in talking about the NHL. Maybe
Zero.
let Matt do that for about 2 minutes.
Do you want to do that now? You don't want to
We can do that right now, and then I figure that we can maybe wrap up with some playoff baseball talk, if you're interested.
Can I get my one last NFL talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
How Saquon isn't human, and his 6 to 8 week high ankle sprain, he's already making cuts 8 days after his injury. Like, he's running at full speed in practice. That's not normal. Okay, that's my whole thing. NHL, is that what you want?
Yeah, give Matt an NHL minute. Put up your newspaper, Dan, and we can take a break.
All right, so NHL minute. Season starts tonight. Defending champ Blues against the 2-year-old defending champ Capitals. It's going to be the exact same picture as it was last year. It's Tampa, it's Toronto, it's Boston.
In that order?
Probably, yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think Toronto and Boston are very close. It's like a 1% here or there. So if you want to fight me that Tampa's not the best, you're wrong. If you want to fight between second and third, you pick your order. So I think the winner of that trio, whoever comes through that bloodbath, will eventually determine the East, and they'll represent them. And then I think it comes down to Dallas and San Jose in the West.
Nashville.
No, Nashville, they're not the same team anymore. They're going down.
Vegas.
So my early prediction, I would just love to see it, mostly because I want to blow so much money on Cup Finals tickets. Give me a Boston-Dallas final. I'll be pretty happy. The actual betting line favorite would probably be give me San Jose and Tampa with Tampa to win.
Okay.
But the heart wants Boston versus Dallas.
And the Bruins' first game is when?
Tomorrow night in Dallas, Tyler Seguin will score a hat trick. Bruins will win 4-3.
All right. On to everybody else's sports that they want to cover. Baseball, Dan.
Love it. I just
maybe
woke up from
soccer
my 2-minute nap.
Did you watch the last night, the Brewers game?
I didn't see any of the game, but it was obviously an exciting one with the Nationals pulling it out in riveting fashion, I heard.
If Christian Yelich plays, the Brewers win that game.
Show alumni and host of his house anyway with his pool, Cam Pierce, he's a Nationals fan.
Right.
And he was excited about the game. I guess it came down to, Matt was telling me, in the 8th inning, there was a play in the right field, and casual scoop, one-handed scoop, the ball got by him, and that was basically the game.
Yep, that's why you practice your fundamentals, kids, because in the wild card playoff game, if you don't just get your body behind the ground ball, it will make you look like a fool.
Yeah, so the Brewers didn't move on. The Nationals did, and they will play Atlanta or no?
Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
The Baby Braves are playing the Cardinals.
And then we have the American League wild card is when?
Tonight.
Tonight.
It starts in 32 minutes.
First pitch in like half an hour.
And that's Oakland versus Tampa?
Yep.
In
Oakland.
Oakland, okay. Which?
Quite possibly the last game in the Coliseum.
Oh, all right then.
I was gonna say I was looking at the records. If the Rays had the better record, I was about to say this could be the last game ever at the Trop.
Right.
They will never leave that place.
Are they really going to play in Montreal half the year next year? Is that confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay, so the players have to have 2 houses, and take their kids out of school, and like that's so crazy. 2 mistresses.
So they will playing the other half at the Trop.
Supposedly they're going to play in the Trop until like All-Star break or something, and then Montreal the second half, because Montreal doesn't want to build a dome. They have an open-air stadium, which I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah.
So they're going to play an open, because you can't play baseball in Montreal in March or April. I mean, they do it in Minnesota somehow. I don't know how.
Well, this will be the first year they really have to do it.
Yeah. So, but they're gonna be doing the playoffs. But I mean, as far as April.
Oh yeah.
But they're gonna play the second half of the season in Montreal in an open air stadium. Good luck to them.
It's Charlie Morton versus Sean Manaea tonight. Any projections?
As I used to say on a different Natick Pegasus show, that is outrageous.
Who do you like, Dan, in this game?
In the Rays Athletics game?
Yeah.
I have no earthly idea, but I'll pick the hometown A's.
Okay.
I want to take the Rays outright, but I'll take the Rays plus the 1.5. But I think money line wise, I'd have to go with the A's as well.
The Brewers, I think, were the biggest win. If you put money on them, I think it was something like you put 100 down, you'd win like $2,500 or something crazy like that. Mm. And now I think I want to say Oakland has the best odds or like the biggest payout.
Would you stop? Let me pick on baseball. You
but for the whole thing, Dan, early on, do you like the Astros like Matt and I, or who are you looking at?
Yeah, as someone who didn't follow it much this season, I still know this Astros team. They've been a factor the last couple of seasons. Seems like they've got pretty much that same band together again. So they look to be the strongest team. So if I had to pick a team that's going to win it, I probably would pick the Astros.
Yeah, there's a guy like the Jordan's Furniture guy, but like the Texas version. Mm. Supposedly had some deal where if they win the World Series, you get the free furniture. He's placed a $3.5 million bet in Vegas, in Mississippi, and then multiple bets in Caesar's Palace, all these different casinos to cover, Dan. So if he wins, he'll be doing all right. But I guess he just break even because he didn't do the insurance policy like the Jordan guys did. Mm-hmm.
So we'll have postseason baseball to talk about in the coming weeks. So that'll be good. That'll supplement our football talk.
Yeah, we also have basketball. We're starting up soon. We can do our basketball preview show. And depending on what happens with hockey, we might have an additional guest soon. We're not really sure. I'm trying to work on that with Matt. But anything else, Dan, that you want to wrap up with?
Not on my end, but as the first Skype show, I hope it sounds good. I think it went pretty well, and now my dog's barking.
I was going to say, it went really well until like the last 30 seconds where...
Dan, you can't control your dog. I mean, I don't know if we can do that.
No, my roommate's getting her riled up.
Oh, well, hey, now. Well, Dan, hey, thanks for joining us on the Skype.
Thank you, guys.
And I don't know if you want to just you want to close the show here.
That's it. Let's spin the music.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for joining us.